Doing the incorrect figure for mortgage interest, what I'll do is I'm going to work out what interest should I have paid, take away the amount I actually did pay, and what's left is the amount that's going to be due. So mortgage interest. So go back to have a look at the question. It says, I'm looking for my mortgage here, 8% fixed mortgage, including an increase of 60 grand, give me a total of 120. So that means I had two mortgages. One was for 60 and the new one for 60. So the mortgage interest is going to be, so the old one is 60 grand times 8% plus the new one, sorry lads please, so the new one times 8%, and that one I would have had for how many months? So I got that on the 1st of 5th, so it's 8 months. Okay, so I'll just work out the numbers here. So 8 grand is the mortgage interest. So the mortgage interest paid. So again, because we have a suspense, it means that the mortgage interest, what was listed here, mortgage interest paid of a grand, that a grand is wrong. Okay, so we need to find out what should I have paid. So for the first 3 months, I only had the old mortgage, so it'll be 60 grand times 8% times 3 months. So 60 times 0.08 times 3 over 12. So 1,200 is the amount paid. So that means that the amount due, interest due is going to be the difference between the two of those. Where do I put the interest due? Current liability, spot on. Okay. So I'm just going to circle now the numbers that have to appear somewhere in my question. So these things that are in red, these are the numbers I'm going to have to take and put into the question now in a second. And I'm going to take the interest due, and as Jack has said, that's the current liability. So, okay, so now, getting back to how I deal with, so the suspense figure, incorrect figure for mortgages in the mortgage interest account. So I need to find out where my suspense is, and I need to change the figure to 1,200 from a grand. So suspense, I think in this question it's mixed in creditors. So where is it? So creditors including suspense is 38 grand. Is this going to be a debit or credit? Creditors? Credit. Okay, you can see it in the trial balance as credit. If I'm going to increase my mortgage interest from 1 grand debit up to 2 grand, that means I need to do a debit of 200. Is that okay? So does that mean that the creditors are going up or down? Creditors are going to go, I'm going to debit mortgage interest, okay, which means I'm going to credit the account that has a suspense. So I'm going to credit creditors, which means creditors go up. Is everyone okay with that? Yeah. Jake, yep? Yeah? Okay. So, I'm going to add a credit in creditors. And I'll be putting a debit in the mortgage interest to increase the mortgage interest, okay? So that means the creditors is now 38,200. Now, the second suspense issue is discount received entered only in the discount account. Discount received, would that be a debit or a credit in the discount account, Josh? Discount received, debit or credit? Why? Because it's taken off. Nope. Because it's an income. Think of your bookkeeping key again, okay? So I put it into the discount account, okay, on the credit as an income. So I need to put it a debit somewhere else. Where else do I put discount received? A debit in what account? Creditors, because they're the people who are letting me off the money. Is that okay? So my creditors then, I'm going to have a debit of $250 for discount. Okay, and my suspense is a credit of $250. Yeah, okay. The only problem with this is that creditors in this question is suspense. So what does that mean? No. They're actually going to cancel each other out. Can I go through it again? Okay. So I forgot to put $250 into creditors. So that needs to go in as a debit, which will make creditors smaller. And I'm going to put a credit, the opposite, credit in suspense, wherever suspense is. So that means, the suspense in this case is mixed in with creditors. So that means my creditors, I'm going to put a debit to fix the creditors, and I'm going to put a credit to do the suspense, so those two will cancel out. So I do nothing. Yep. Okay.
So do you have to write that in?
Now remember, this is rough work. If you can do any of these pieces of rough work, if you can do them in your head, and you want to put them straight into the question, that's fine. The only thing is, when they go to the question, if you've got the wrong figure for creditors and they don't, then they're going to look and see, is there any rough work to show what should have been in creditors? And if they can't find any rough work, you lose all of the marks for creditors. So that's why it's generally a good idea. So for example, if... Okay. When we go to do this question, so everyone has this with them at the moment, yeah? Okay, so this is where the examiner looks first. So the examiner will look here for creditors, and he's going to see, do you have the right figure for creditors? If you don't have the right figure, then he's going to go to the rough work and see, do you have any numbers there that show me what creditors should have been? If you know how to do the creditors figure in your head, and you decide, I'm not going to bother wasting the time doing the rough work, I'm going to put it straight into the answer, and if the answer is right, then that's grand. So you don't have to do all of this rough work. But a lot of it, I mean, when I'm doing these questions, I do the rough work because I find there's only some of them I can do in my head. And I've been doing these 30 years. Okay? So, but there are some of these that I can say, yeah, I'll just put it straight into the answer. And the same goes for all of your accounting questions. Yeah? Okay? That's just the way the examiner goes to correct it. So just back to finish this up here now. So we have those cancel each other out. So therefore, the figure that I had for creditors earlier on stays of 38.2. Okay, and I'm just going to circle that. So now, when you're doing the question in the exam, what I would say is first thing you do is do what I've done over here. You got your blank document ready to put some numbers in. Okay, and then as you do your rough work, you start putting the rough work into the blank document. Okay, can you start doing that now?